Tonight, rising from the ashes.
I've noticed that all of us have resiliency.
How people in Lac du Bonnet are rebuilding their homes and their lives 1 year after a devastating wildfire tore through the area. Also tonight, an appeal to work together. The message from Manitoba First Nation leaders following a court ruling on the CFS system. Plus,
so how is this going to affect us? It's going to affect us deeply.
A look at some of the concerns raised during a town hall over a proposed supervised consumption site in Winnipeg.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. A grim anniversary is being marked tonight in Manitoba. Last year on this day, wildfire swept through Lac du Bonnet, claiming the lives of a couple who attempted to escape. Now people are picking up the pieces and rebuilding in a place that's always felt like home. CTV's Joseph Bernacki saw the wildfire aftermath firsthand a year ago on Wendigo Road and got a chance to go back there today. Joseph, what was the experience like for you?
Marilee, after the cool spring we've had this year, people in the community are calling last year's wildfires surreal. It felt like that walking around there today. But now they're remembering Susan and Richard Noel, who died after their home caught fire. Walking down the road again, however, there is a message of hope watching others rebuild, and some people have even moved back home.
House is up and deck to go yet, and then we have the shed that is up, but it still needs to be relocated to the back there.
For the first time in over a year, Lavina Harding, a permanent resident on Wendigo Road, can breathe easy once again. 1 year ago to this day, her whole world went up in flames as she lost her house alongside her neighbors. On April 18th, she finally returned to a rebuilt home.
I see new hope, and I think that the rest of the way will be a little bit easier than what I did go through in this past year.
A lot has changed in a short period of time for her. When we last spoke with her in late August, only a foundation was built where she sits today. A dozen contractors and her strong will drove her to rebuild.
Every morning I would make a to-do list. I would go through that to-do list. I would realize, you know what, I need a place to live, so I'm going to go at it hard.
Harding isn't the only person returning to Wendigo Road. Shane Robinson and his family have joined several neighbors determined to start anew.
So we're going to rebuild. We're just waiting for the road restrictions to finish up here. And once the road restrictions are up, we've got the guy coming to do the foundation, and then Star Building is going to be rebuilding the cottage.
Lauren Schinkel, reeve for the RM of Lac du Bonnet, says it is surreal thinking back to the fires from 1 year ago. Given the momentum in rebuilding, he says he's encouraged by all the activity.
You see several homes that have come up here since we last spoke out here. Today is a vastly different day than it was a year ago.
While some people can rebuild, the community is forever changed. The province named this bridge in honor of Susan and Richard Noel, who died in the fires. Schinkel says the RM is better prepared this year should the community face another threat.
We were the only ones that had that loss of life, and that certainly heightens how you need to be prepared, how you need to have a good plan in place.
More than 38 structures were lost, according to the RM, and it's not clear yet how many people will rebuild or have sold.
Joseph, how is the RM of Lac du Bonnet preparing for future fires?
Yes, Marilee, the RM tells us in addition to sprinklers being installed on many of the properties, the Lac du Bonnet firefighters have since undergone extensive wildland firefighting training. The RM has also received a new side-by-side ATV vehicle to allow firefighters to get into the backcountry to carry emergency equipment and help with search and rescue efforts. The town and the RM have also undergone a wildfire risk assessment to see what can be done to reduce future risk.
All right, thanks for this, Joseph. Parts of Thompson are underwater tonight as the city's drain system struggles to keep up with a rapid spring melt. Public Works crews in Thompson are working extra hours trying to clear catch basins, flush storm drain lines, and remove grates to help get all that water moving. Drivers are warned to use caution around flooded areas such as Cree Road between Deerwood Drive and Juniper Drive. Pedestrians and cyclists are also advised to be wary of puddles as the depth may catch you off guard. All right, let's bring in Colleen Brady now and get a first look at our Skywatch evening forecast. Safe to say a lot of melting taking place today. Temperatures very warm out there.
Well, including in Thompson, where last hour it was 16 degrees, and as much as it doesn't need any more precipitation at this point, more is headed Thompson's way. But even further north, a winter storm warning is in effect tonight. I'll have more details on that. I'm saying that in the midst of outright summer-like temperatures this afternoon in the southwest. We weren't far behind here in the southeast. It was a beautiful day here in the south, but things will be changing, and changing pretty quickly as we approach the May long weekend. But for now, let's take a look through the CTV Live Eye. It's brought to you by Bathfitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. In Winnipeg right now, south winds picking up 17 kilometers an hour with wind gusts up to 30. It's 24 degrees out there under a mix of sun and cloud. The pressure's dropping, and the humidity right now merrily is 21%.
Thanks, Colleen. A 46-year-old man is charged in connection to the death of a man near St. Anne earlier this month. 49-year-old Cameron Hewley suffered life-threatening injuries and died following an assault on May 2nd. That assault, according to RCMP, happened at a social gathering at a home east of town, just off Dawson Road. We're told a fight broke out among some of the people there, and during it, Hewley received the injury which took his life. Mounties say he and the suspect were both guests, but they didn't know each other prior to the incident. 46-year-old Jeff Wyness is now charged with 1 count of manslaughter. He's since been released with conditions. The charge has not yet been tested in court. Mounties are investigating after human remains were found in a small community in the Interlake. Officers were sent to the town of Riverton yesterday and confirmed human remains were found on a property. They have not yet been identified. A spokesperson was unable to elaborate on what type of property or its location, saying more details will be released when available. Riverton is located near the northwest shore of Lake Winnipeg's South Basin, about 40 kilometers north of Gimli. There's going to be more French language nurses in this province. The Manitoba government announced it's adding 30 new seats at St. Boniface University's French Language Bachelor of Nursing program. It brings the total number of seats to 75. The province is also spending almost $220,000 over 4 years to enhance bilingual health care.
At Université de Saint-Boniface, we strongly believe that language matters in healthcare. Being able to receive care in the official language of your choice has a direct impact on the accuracy of diagnosis, on trust, on safety, on quality of care, on recovery, and on healing.
The expanded cohort gets underway in the 2026-27 academic year. First Nation leaders here in Manitoba are urging the federal and provincial governments to help find a solution to the child welfare crisis instead of appealing a court decision. Monday, Chief Justice Glenn Joyelle handed down the decision on the class action launched by First Nations and the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs. AMC says it finds both levels of government breach the right to First Nation self-governance of child welfare, which contributed to the overrepresentation of First Nations children in care. The federal and provincial governments have 30 days to appeal the decision, but AMC is urging them to instead work together to build a better system. The College of Registered Nurses of Manitoba is apologizing for its role in systemic discrimination and generational harms in healthcare.
We have failed to act in ways that would have guided the education and practice of registered nurses serving First Nations, Inuit, and Métis towards two of the most central tenets of healthcare: to help and to do no harm.
The college registrar delivered the apology today in front of Indigenous elders, knowledge keepers, nurses, and community members. Deb Elias acknowledged registered nurses were involved in physical, spiritual, and cultural harms through participation in residential schools, Indian hospitals, and other social programs. Elias says this apology is a step towards advancing reconciliation, which will include an Indigenous advisory group. Another candidate has entered the Winnipeg mayor's race.
Crime is the #1 issue for Winnipeg.
Real estate agent Umar Hyatt registered today as a mayoral candidate. Hyatt also ran for mayor back in 2018. At that time, he voiced his opposition to opening Portage in Maine and said he would cut infrastructure funding to prioritize sewage treatment upgrades and reduce transit fares. Today, Hyatt says he's spent years researching the issues, talking with Winnipeggers, and using that feedback to craft his campaign, which will focus on crime, transit, and improving infrastructure.
If you go into my website, hyattformayor.com, you will see how my ideas and Actually, that's not my ideas. Whoever look, New York had a terrible crime. Okay, Toronto, London is the best example. How did they reduce crime? So I did pinpoint those factors like the drone, like the CCTV cameras on red zones.
Christopher Classio, Scott Gillingham, and Michael Voyajakis have also registered as mayoral candidates. The deadline to register is September 22nd. Election Day is set for Wednesday, October 28th. A supervised consumption site proposed for Winnipeg's Point Douglas neighborhood is facing some pushback tonight after a tense community meeting. CTV's John Hendricks was at that meeting and joins me now to talk more about what unfolded. So, John, what were some of the concerns you heard?
Well, Mayor residents wanted to know why officials are looking at their community for the site and how they will ultimately be affected. Now, the meeting was organized by the community itself at a restaurant and banquet hall, which is across the street from the proposed consumption site at 366 Henry Avenue. Residents listened to a panel of officials, including Councillor Sherry Rowlands, Winnipeg Police Chief Gene Bowers, and Tory MP Dan Major, and more. The consumption site was initially announced by the NDP government in 2024 and would be operated by Aboriginal Health and Wellness Centre of Winnipeg. It's aimed at addressing the growing number of overdose deaths in Winnipeg, and the aim is to reduce the amount of people using drugs in public. Now, the site won't be providing drugs, but it would offer drug testing and a space to use, specifically injection drugs, with staff on hand. There will also be a proposed rapid access addiction medicine clinic proposed at the facility, but critics of the site are raising concerns.
And what is being proposed for this community is not harm reduction, it's drug enablement. Ontario, Alberta, and Saskatchewan are shutting these sites down because the evidence is telling them to. In Manitoba, the Manitoba and Canadian government should take note. These sites are magnets for drugs and disorder.
What people are voted for this, you know, the people who voted for NDP, but like, did they know about this kind of thing? And why aren't we giving them more rehabs or detox centers for the people?
The NDP government originally planned to open the site at a different location, but they abandoned the plan after area residents complained it was too close to a school and homes.
So, John, what are police saying then about this planned site?
Well, Mayor Chief Bowers said while it's not his place to voice an opinion on the site, it's also important to hear residents' safety concerns. He painted a bleak picture of the city's ongoing addictions and overdose crisis, saying it's an issue across the country. Meantime, Aboriginal Health and Wellness Centre of Winnipeg CEO Monica Sear echoed a similar sentiment, saying the drug crisis here is immense, and said a supervised consumption site won't be the sole solution and that more detox and treatment is needed. She's also calling for unity for all parties, saying, quote, "What we don't need is where we are so busy bickering with each other that we're not all hands on deck." And this is an all hands on deck situation. Now, CTV reached out to the province to find out a timeline for when this site could open. We have not yet heard back.
All right, thanks for this, John. Families and community members are hitting the streets to raise awareness about the violence, loss, and systemic injustices experienced by Indigenous boys and men.
Like, I would like to find my boy, bring him home.
Kelly LaValle joined other families for the second annual Walk to Honor Missing and Murdered Indigenous Men and Boys. Her son Dwayne disappeared from Ebb and Flow First Nation. Organizers say the goal of the walk is to highlight the disproportionate rates of violence, incarceration, and disappearance they say are too often silenced or overlooked.
So today is about healing, love, justice, and for all of us to come together to speak and to honor our loved ones today.
The walk left the Canadian Museum for Human Rights before making its way to the Manitoba Legislature, where 7 families shared their stories with the crowd. 94 people were murdered in Manitoba in 2024, and 50 of them were Indigenous men or boys. The city is adjusting its target for new home construction thanks to a funding boost from Ottawa. The city has secured an additional $4 million through the Housing Accelerator Fund as a result of it exceeding its 2-year target for new homes. At the beginning of December, Winnipeg recorded more than 9,700 new housing units, which means it cleared its goal by 114%. It's now upping its year-end goal by 150 units for a target of more than 14,200. The additional funding is on top of some $30.6 million in annual funding already received through the program. Still to come tonight, the federal government is close to striking an industrial carbon pricing deal with Alberta.
And I think in these circumstances, we need to adapt and we need to invest.
What we know so far about the possibility of a new pipeline to the West Coast. That's next. Taking a look at the markets tonight, crude oil lost $1.16. The loonie made a small gain. Gold futures added $20. The TSX fell 249 points. The Dow Jones dropped 67 points, while the Nasdaq jumped 314 points. A 24-year-old man is facing a lengthy list of drug and weapon-related charges tonight following a bust at a Central Park apartment. Winnipeg police began investigating drug trafficking in the area earlier this month. Last week, officers searched an apartment on Cumberland Avenue. They found 21 loaded restricted handguns, a silencer, a mixture of ammunition, 27 grams of cocaine, and around $25,000 in cash. The man faces dozens of weapons and drug charges. He was detained in custody. Local Jewish communities will benefit from upgrades to a federal program meant to improve safety and security. That's according to the head of the Center for Israel and Jewish Affairs.
A charitable organization that is focused on social programs or education programs doesn't have to dedicate its time and resources to security considerations. A school shouldn't have to become an expert in security. It should be focused on educating children. And that's the fundamental principle that underlines this.
That's Noah Shack discussing a $75 million boost to Ottawa's Canada Community Security Program. The fund offers 70% of costs, up to $1.5 million, to groups at risk of hate-motivated crimes to offset the cost of security equipment, security services, or training. In its spring economic update, the federal government also updated the application requirements in hopes of making the process more efficient.
So this is a fundamental first step to protect facilities, but we need to move forward in partnership with government to address the root causes of what's fueling this radicalization, the harassment, hate, and intimidation that has really skyrocketed over the last 3 years.
The program is accepting applications now. There's no deadline to apply, but it is done on a first-come, first-served basis. You can find out more by visiting publicsafety.gc.ca. Canada is one step closer to getting a new pipeline which will transport Alberta crude to the West Coast. CTV News has confirmed a major piece of the puzzle has been addressed, but there are still many steps to go. CTV's Graham Richardson reports.
After years of opposition and protests, pipeline politics are changing. What seemed entirely unlikely just 18 months ago is now one major step closer.
Are you willing to allow a new pipeline?
The Prime Minister not confirming it, but sources telling CTV News his government and Alberta are set to announce a deal on a new pipeline to the West Coast.
I think it's a great thing for the industry, and it's a great thing for Canada.
This is one part of a complex process, and it was telegraphed last week by Alberta Premier Daniel Smith in Ottawa.
Sometimes it happens that you get the two principals in the room and you kind of sort through what some of the disagreements are, and I felt like we sorted through a lot today. Had a meeting of the minds, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to announce an agreement very soon.
A key sticking point was the industrial carbon price rising higher each year. Sources say the Carney Liberals have agreed to slow the growth in the price significantly. Under the plan introduced in 2016, the carbon price was supposed to hit $170 per ton by 2030. Now that will be reduced and only hit $130 a ton by 2040.
Having investment in our own energy sovereignty. And I think in these circumstances, we need to adapt and we need to invest.
Some environmental groups would not openly criticize the shift, but they are clearly disappointed.
We've been suggesting that getting to $130 a ton for the Alberta industrial carbon price by 2030 was a reasonable and effective deadline Instead, it looks like that's going to happen by 2040, fully a decade later. So that is disappointing.
Of course, hanging over all of this is years of acrimony between Alberta and Ottawa. Will this change all of that? Probably not, but it will be seen as one of the first positive steps in many years. Graham Richardson, CTV News, Ottawa.
William Miker, a former Mountie, has been found not guilty of foreign interference. He was accused of making plans to intimidate a Canadian man to return to China to face punishment for alleged fraud. CTV's Judy Trin has the latest on the verdict.
In her decision, Justice Martha Devlin said the Crown did not prove that Miker intended to act primarily for the PRC's benefit or that he was in fact directed by the Chinese government. No one can be said to be prepared to do something they had no intention of doing, she said. The Crown's case hinged on an email chain intercepted by the FBI. In the emails, Miker refers to a real estate mogul in Vancouver with more than $100 million in assets. He wrote that he wants to impress upon the crook that we hold his future. But Miker's alleged target, Kevin Sun, was never mentioned in that email. The Crown said Miker was involved in China's Project Fox Hunt and wanted to pressure Sun to return to China to collect a bounty. Miker was arrested in July 2023 and charged while visiting Canada from Hong Kong. Here's what he said after he was found not guilty.
I live on the other side of the world and have for the last 20 years. So without my wife and my children especially, they're still of a young age. So they've been 3 years without their father. That's time I'll never get back. They'll never get back.
5 years ago, CSIS issued an espionage alert about William Miker. The retired Mountie had moved from Canada to Hong Kong, where he had started a business helping state-owned enterprises recoup their assets. CSIS was concerned that Miker was somehow gathering information for China after the arrest of Meng Wanzhou and the detention of the two Michaels. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Donald Trump has arrived in China for a high-stakes summit with the Chinese president. Trump landed in Beijing to a military honor guard and cheering crowds. He will meet with Xi tomorrow. Trump said trade will be the main focus of the talks, but Iran and Taiwan are also expected to be on the agenda. A cruise ship is in lockdown in Bordeaux, France. A 92-year-old passenger has died and dozens of others are ill. Officials say this outbreak is not related to the hantavirus. The cruise ship is part of the British-owned Ambassador Cruise Lines, and there are more than 1,700 passengers and crew on board. Officials say 48 passengers are showing symptoms of what is suspected to be norovirus. A major wildfire northwest of Edmonton has been contained. The fire near Whitecourt burned more than 50 hectares of forest. Firefighters are still dealing with hot spots, and more than 400 people have yet to return to their homes. The Canadian Armed Forces is honoring the long service of one of its aircrafts. Around 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, a Hercules and 2 fighter jets will conduct a flyby of 1 Canadian Air Division headquarters at 17 Wing. It's to mark the end of the CC-130H's air-to-air refueling mission. The refueling operation ceased last month, but the Hercules will continue to help in search and rescue and transport missions.
Often you have to travel to see this sort of thing, and we have it here, available for Winnipeg.
Bringing out the big guns to say goodbye. What's in store for a long-running Winnipeg art gallery as it prepares a send-off for the ages?
Well, if you're turning the May long weekend into an extra long weekend starting Friday, conditions that day improving. The rest of the long weekend, well, I'll show you. A mix of sun and cloud Friday, a high of 20 degrees. A mix of sun and cloud on Saturday with a stark difference in the temperatures, just 11. Then comes the rain. Sunday, likely on Victoria Day on Monday and on Tuesday, with those daytime highs you can see well below normal, just creeping into the double digits.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
A long-running art gallery in the Exchange District is moving to a new location this summer, and its swan song is an exhibition and auction for the ages. CTV's Daniel Halmerson reports.
Norval Morrisseau, The Group of Seven, and Maud Lewis. Works by some of our country's most acclaimed artists are on display here at Mayberry Fine Art in the Exchange District.
Often you have to travel to see this sort of thing, and we have it here, available for Winnipeg, art enthusiasts to see.
Each of the 89 pieces in the exhibition are up for auction this month, and gallery director Sean Mayberry says it's one of the highest value art sales in Winnipeg history.
The combined pre-sale estimate for the auction is 1.1 to 1.5 million.
The piece likely to fetch the highest bid is this oil-on-board painting by Group of Seven member Lauren Harris from 1919. Mayberry says it came from a private collection out of Calgary and could sell for up to $175,000.
A wonderful opportunity to have a painting that we can bring to market for the first time since the late 1960s.
But he adds there are also plenty of paintings estimated to sell in the hundreds.
There are a lot of other artists that make up the sort of dynamic art community whose work just haven't been discovered the same way. And it provides a variety of very flexible access points into collecting.
The exhibition and auction has added meaning for the Mayberry family. The gallery is moving out of the Exchange and into a new location on Wall Street this summer.
We love the Exchange, we love the building, and the building itself has become very central to our identity as a business.
And for Mayberry, there's no better way to celebrate the end of an era than to celebrate why they opened in the first place.
It's a great opportunity for collectors or audiences and just people interested in the art to come down and see a great selection of historical Canadian art of all shapes and sizes.
Daniel Halmerson, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The art auction runs until May 28th. You can see the whole collection for sale at mayberryfineart.com.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Tough day to be stuck inside, Colleen.
No kidding. We've been waiting for a day like this.
Ever.
My goodness. It was 24 degrees here in Winnipeg. The sun was shining. The temperatures were soaring. The winds were even cooperating. But I'll tell you what, on this day 1 year ago, the record was set for the highest temperature for May 13th. You think 24 was nice. This might be a little much for you. Remember this? It was 37 degrees in Winnipeg 1 year ago today. Out in the southwest, 27 degrees in Dauphin, in Brandon, in Swan River, and in Melita. Now, it looks like, strictly speaking, Dauphin will take the crown for the hot spot today here in Manitoba. So it was quite a nice day. Summer-like temperatures in the southwest, virtually the same here in the southeast. Not quite as hot, but still lovely temperatures. Northwestern Ontario, a nice day as well, still clear there. Here's a look at the current temperatures just to show you how warm it still is. It's 18 in Kenora, 24 here still in Winnipeg and Steinbach, and we get warmer as we push further out to the west. Brandon now at 26, but it's still 27 in Melita and in Dauphin. In the north, even warmer now than last hour in Thompson, up one now, 17 degrees there, and in Lynn Lake and Churchill, it's 4 degrees. Now, Churchill is one of 4 regions in northern Manitoba under a winter storm warning. After all those warm temperatures today, a winter storm warning is now in effect for Brochet, Dooley Lake, Churchill, and Shamattawa regions. But really, most of Manitoba will be impacted in various ways with this incoming low. As for the precipitation that's put those areas under a warning, I'll show you how it advances in the next few hours. Until we get to midnight, really not much happening all across the province. It's just the winds will be strengthening, including down here in the south. Pretty strong south winds tonight. East into northwestern Ontario, again, pretty quiet much of the night. And then all this starts to head our way. Now, here's a look at those warned areas. A lot of these areas will see freezing rain first and showers. Up to 5 millimeters of freezing rain is possible. And you'll see that flip over to snow a little later on in the day. Up to 15 centimeters is possible in that most northern tier. But areas further south, as you'll see, could see showers develop as we get into the afternoon, not just in the north, including including in Thompson, that doesn't need any more precipitation at this point, but down here across the south, including Winnipeg. There's a good chance, it's not a certainty, but it's a good chance all across southern Manitoba of showers with the risk of a thunderstorm. And you can see how that system sort of wraps around back into the southwest overnight and into Friday. So, like I said, conditions improving here in Winnipeg, but we might just get clipped on the southern edge with that lower rain band coming through. Not a certainty, but it is a possibility. But meanwhile, those other areas through central and northern parts of the province still contending with showers, freezing rain, and outright snowfall. For tonight, we drop down to 13 degrees, mostly clear, strong south winds, 30 gusting to 50. For the commute tomorrow, around 16 degrees under a mix of sun and cloud in those strong south winds, up to 24. Still a mix of sun and cloud with the possibility of those showers, though. But look how strong those winds will be tomorrow. 50 gusting to 70 kilometers an hour from the south. In the northeast tonight, snow late tonight for Churchill, down to 0 there. Pretty quiet conditions elsewhere through the northeast. Thompson down to 7 under partly cloudy skies. Rain starting there tomorrow, 12 degrees. Now, Churchill will see up to 10 centimeters of snow as the temperature falls to -2. Partly cloudy tonight across much of the northwest, and then on comes the rain tomorrow with the possibility also of thunderstorms in the Paw and Norway House. In the southwest tonight, clear now, but varying amounts of cloud overnight. Brandon down to 12. 15 overnight for Dauphin. Mix of sun and cloud tomorrow again with that good chance of showers or thunderstorms. Highs of 22 and 24 degrees right around the region. Winnipeg in the southeast clear tonight. Overnight lows in the double digits, 13 for Winnipeg. And again, a mix of sun and cloud for most of us with that good chance of showers or thunderstorms. It will stay cloudy to the east of the city, though. Temperatures getting well into the 20s again. Clear tonight in northwestern Ontario. Temperatures staying well above freezing. And similarly, a mix of sun and cloud with the possibility of showers with highs right around 20, 21 degrees. Our first weather photo is a beauty. This was taken by Martha. She said it was a bud-busting evening yesterday along McCurry Road in Winnipeg. I see what you did there, Martha. This next photo is from Kevin. He was out in his backyard, and this little cutie showed up, and he said the birds were also singing, and it was just beautiful. That was out in Steinbach. Send us your weather photos by email to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Now that we have cellular pathways identified, we can think about precision therapeutics.
Coming up, a discovery which could lead to targeted therapies for autism, what researchers at Sick Kids uncovered and what it could mean for families. A new survey shows donating blood for Canadians isn't just an act of health, it's an act of patriotism. Joining me now to talk more about the latest data is Seamus Neeson with Canadian Blood Services. Seamus, good to speak with you.
Well, hi there.
Let's talk about some of the standout findings from this survey. How do Canadians view blood donation?
Well, that's an excellent question. A lot of Canadians find that donating blood is definitely a patriotic act. And the reason for that is when you look at Canadians are known for a number of different things. We're known for being giving people. We're known for being peacekeepers. And here's an opportunity for you to not only live that life, but save a life at the same time.
Let's talk about the experience of donating blood. What do people say they get out of it?
Well, the number one thing that we hear from our donors is that they find that they feel like they are contributing. They are supporting their community, because when you look at the entire country, every minute of every day, someone in Canada will need blood. And when our donors come in, not only do they feel like they've saved a life, but they feel like they've just helped their community.
We are approaching the first long weekend of the summer. I know this is a pivotal time for Canadian Blood Services, as you know, this is a time of year when donations tend to drop off. I'm curious, how great is the need for donors right now?
Every minute of every day, somebody in Canada will need blood. And even though the weather is changing, and I mean, when you look at the way that the winter has been, we've had storm after storm, we've been cooped up in our own homes, that when the weather changes, we're just dying to go and just, you know, enjoy ourselves. The other side of that coin is there are people in Canada that need blood regardless of what the weather is like, regardless of long weekends. So we're just encouraging people, before you make those long weekend plans, come and see us, spend an hour in our clinics, and just make a life impactful for someone in need.
Let's talk about the donation process for, maybe first-time donors thinking about doing it, or people who haven't donated in a while. What can they expect?
Well, you're going to be greeted first and foremost by some beautiful faces. We've got not only the most amazing staff members, but I have read that our volunteers are the friendliest volunteers in the entire country. And when you walk into the clinic for the first time and you've never donated blood, we encourage you to do a couple of things just to make sure that your experience is a positive one. We encourage you to make sure that you're well hydrated, so drink some water before you come and see us. And the other important thing is to make sure you got some food in your stomach, because you will have a much better experience if you prepare ahead of time.
All right, you're putting out a call for Canadians to donate this summer. How can they do it and help out?
Well, the easiest thing for them to do is book their appointment online. Go to blood.ca, and if you're not too sure where the closest clinic to you is, all you have to do is punch in your postal code, and you'll see a list of clinics that are going to be closest to where you live. And at that same time, you can book your appointment. For those people that are always attached to their phones, I always encourage them to download the Give Blood app as well, because on that app, not only can you find where that closest clinic to you is, but it keeps stats. So if you've got, let's say, a competition with one of your workmates on who could donate blood the fastest, all those stats will be kept in that app. So you'll have evidence backing your big claims.
The app is great, and I highly recommend doing those competitions with friends and coworkers. Seamus, thanks so much for your time tonight. It was great speaking with you.
Thanks for having me.
Drug overdose deaths are continuing their downward decline in the U.S. The CDC reports they fell by about 14% last year. This marks the third consecutive year of declines. That's unprecedented in recent history, as drug OD deaths have only gone down in 5 of the past 30 years. There was a huge drop of 27% between 2023 and 24. The biggest contributor has been fewer overdoses involving fentanyl as the opioid crisis eases, but there were still almost 70,000 overdose deaths in 2025. It remains the leading cause of death for Americans 18 to 44 years old. Scientists are supercharging patients' own immune cells to try to fight HIV without today's drugs. A small study is giving a hint CAR T-cell therapy, already used for some cancers, might eventually work for HIV.
We think we've identified a very promising strategy in which we can sort of begin to think that maybe one day we will have not a cure maybe, but something that can be given and will work for, a few decades.
2 patients given a single dose of their revved up cells saw their HIV remain suppressed for nearly a year for one of them, and the other for nearly 2 years. Researchers stress larger and longer studies are still needed to prove if it really works. The findings were presented yesterday at a gene therapy meeting in Boston. Nearly 40 million people worldwide live with the virus that causes AIDS. Researchers at the Hospital for Sick Children have uncovered a genetic pathway that could lead to targeted therapies to help with autism. CTV's Pauline Chan visited those labs today.
Scientists have known for decades that there was a genetic link to autism spectrum disorder.
Our previous studies looked at the protein coding genes of the genome, and now our novel discovery here actually found a long non-coding RNA. So this is an RNA molecule that has function within the cell.
It's found on the X chromosome, and it's associated with autism in males who carry small deletions in the gene.
So if you think of a light switch, for example, in a room that has 100 different pot lights in it, we think about perhaps this new molecule we've identified is more of a dimmer switch.
And it's connected with what are the core behavioral traits associated with autism: difficulties with socializing, communicating, and repetitive behaviors.
Professor Shearer says the key to their discovery has been their ability to do whole genome sequencing for thousands of people.
5,000 from Canada, plus thousands more from Europe, South Korea, and Qatar. Susan Cosgrove has 3 children, all on the spectrum. She says she's always believed in a genetic link, but this finding could be key in earlier and more reliable diagnosis.
It's still somebody's interpretation of your child's behavior, your child's features. If this was able to be diagnosed through a blood test, right? We wouldn't have to do that wait.
Now that we have cellular pathways identified, we can think about precision therapeutics for perhaps all people who have a diagnosis of autism. And that's why this is really a novel finding.
Newer technology is helping this type of research examine regions of the genome it could never study before. The researchers have been able to transfer these genetic alterations to mouse models to work towards someday developing targeted therapies for specific autism-related genes. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic.
Soaring into the past when you can step inside an actual World War II training aircraft. That's next in Spotlight.
Spotlight sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting The Incline, Sweet Dreams of Patsy Cline.
An American drag queen and comedian is making his way to Winnipeg this fall.
The difference between Super Mario Brothers and Mortal Kombat, night and day.
Bob the Drag Queen's Now Clap the Comedy Tour will hit the Club Region Event Center stage on October 3rd. His unabashed confidence helped him win the title of America's Next Drag Superstar on Season 8 of RuPaul's Drag Race. Tickets start at $49 plus fees. They go on sale Friday through Ticketmaster. A World War II-era plane is taking flight this weekend in Brandon. The Commonwealth Air Training Plan Museum is launching its flying season with the debut of a Boeing Stearman Cadet. It's an original 1941 Allied training aircraft, and visitors will have the opportunity to step into its iconic open cockpit. But if going up in the air isn't quite your thing, you can also be watching flying operations on an active airfield apron. For more information, head on over to the museum's website. Roll out the red carpet again. Conan O'Brien is returning to host the Oscars again next year.
We're all set? Here we go.
The Emmy-winning talk show host is hosting the movie award ceremony for his third time at the 2027 edition, and much of the behind-the-scenes workers will also be returning, including the executive producer for their fourth stint. The 99th Academy Awards will be held on March 14th, 2027. Strikeforce 5 had a reunion on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
Please welcome back to The Late Show, Jimmy Kimmel, Seth Meyers, John Oliver, and Jimmy Fallon.
Strikeforce 5 is made up of 5 late-night hosts: Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, Seth Meyers, and John Oliver. It's the name of the podcast they started during the writer's strike. While on the couch, the group shared their thoughts on The Late Show being canceled and the future of late-night TV. Colbert's last show is on May 21st. Your primetime lineup starts with Master Chef at 7. Following at 8 is The Floor. Celebrity Jeopardy is on at 9. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
I could tell they really enjoyed themselves and shared their knowledge with the younger students.
Helping the next generation find their wings. How students are becoming mentors in aviation at one Winnipeg high school. That's next.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
Highest temperature today was 24. Was that record-setting? Nowhere near the record that was set 1 year ago today when Winnipeg reached 37 degrees. Tonight, 13. Windy, though. South winds picking back up. And the winds will be strong, very strong on Thursday. Mix of sun and cloud with a decent possibility of showers or a thunderstorm. 24 degrees. 20 on Friday under a mix of sun and cloud. Same sky conditions Saturday, a very different temperature, just 11. And then comes the long weekend rain, merrily. It starts on Sunday, right through Victoria Day and into Tuesday.
Thanks, Colleen. Students in St. James had the need for speed today. It was the second annual Top Gun Day at Sturgeon Heights. And as CTV photojournalist Glenn Pismetti found out, it's an opportunity for students to find their wings.
They're having so much fun learning that they don't even realize it.
If you turn your yoke all the way to the left, then you'll roll in a
Seeing that they have an interest in aviation really makes me happy, knowing that I had an interest just like them, and just being that person for them just really makes me happy, helps me learn from them, and they get to learn from me as well, so I'm very happy.
When I first started out, it was just amazing just being in this room and to be able to pass it on, and the interest in the aviation industry onto the youth is really nice.
High pressure to low pressure.
I'm very proud of my my aviation students. They took on leadership skills. I could tell they really enjoyed themselves and shared their knowledge with the younger students.
The air cools down and condenses.
When I came in, I was in the intro class, one of the 8 classes at the school, and from then on, I just been in the program every year, and I just have fun ever since.
This program's great. Aviation's great. We have a great teacher, and it's always nice getting to know new people every year and being with the same classmates throughout the 4 years.
How's it going over here?
Win-win for both grade 6ers plus my students. I'm a big advocate for mentoring, giving back, and that's what today was all about. My students giving back, mentoring, and sharing their passion.
He's got the Top Gun glasses there too.
That's right. He's talking about high pressure, low pressure.
What a fun day.
Yeah. That simulator, awesome. I would have loved that.
Pretty cool, yeah. All right, get outside and enjoy the weather while it lasts.
That's right.
We'll be back here tomorrow. Hope to see you then.